The Lord's great.
Yes, it is.
God is good. I got a picture I brought with me tonight because I needed support. It's my family. I've never done this before. And Tyron, bravo to you for trying. This is my family. It's my mom's sisters and their husbands, my mom and dad. They were big influences in my life. One thing. Okay, we're going to start on the left. Aunt Marguerite and Uncle Dick. Aunt Marguerite was a nurse. Uncle Dick was a painter. In the middle is Aunt Meridell and Uncle Harry. Aunt Meridell was a school teacher, and Uncle Harry was a veterinarian. My mom and dad are on the right. Mom was a secretary for the Standard Oil Company, and Dad was a laborer at Tappan in Mansfield, until they decided to build a restaurant in our community. And one thing they all had in common, they were Christians and they loved the Lord. And they raised us children to do everything for Jesus. I'm getting ahead of myself. They lived their whole lives for Jesus. They were great examples of faith, hope, courage, humility. Thank you. Loyalty and integrity. I was surrounded by great role models. I grew up in a small community, Johnsville. It was a farm town. I was the youngest of three. My sisters and I, we were taught how to live as Christians from day one, and we were expected to follow the commandments and the teachings in the Bible. My mother was the organist at church. She played for every wedding in the community, and I was her page turner because I could read music. So we got to go to a lot of churches in the community, met a lot of Christian people. I was always surrounded by good, wholesome people. So I had a really great childhood. We had a nice house. My dad, when he quit at Tappan, we built a restaurant right next door. So we had plenty of food to eat all the time. And it was 25 feet from our house. And us girls, we all worked in the business. We grew up in the business, and we were expected, we had responsibilities. We learned how to work jobs and be responsible. And as our business grew, our responsibilities grew also. And so did our pocketbooks. We made more money as we grew up. And we were sat down and talked about tithing. And before we spent any of our earnings, 10% went in our tithing box. And we took it to church every Sunday and put it in the offering. I just had the best examples. And why I like to talk about all of this is because my parents, because of their dedication and their service to the Lord, they were blessed so much. And I was blessed through them. I miss them. I miss them all. I lost half of them in about 3 years. And my sister and my mom and my aunt, all in 3 months. I suffered severe depression. I don't know if you guys ever notice, but when I'm here at church, I'm crying most of the time in my pew. I didn't think this was going to be so hard because I thought the Lord had delivered me. But when I talk about them, I just cry a lot because I miss them so much. But I believe that he's helped me, and I'm getting better at it. I'm going to move into something different for a while. I'm going to my marriage, it was bad. I suffered abuse. I was the preacher's son, so I lied about things and I covered up. But there was good things too. When I was in church, things were good. When he was in church, they were okay. When he wasn't, it was bad. But I talk about my first healing. It was Easter Sunday, and we were getting ready for church, and the bathroom was upstairs, so I was getting Rochelle ready. She was just a toddler, and she'd taken a bath, and I got her all ready, and had her cute little Easter dress and bonnet and everything, and started out for downstairs to get myself ready, and I missed the first step, and it was 18 stairs, and by the time I got to the bottom, I was pretty banged up, and I went down sort of on my right hip, and I couldn't hardly move when I got to the bottom. Couldn't get up, finally got up, and then I couldn't walk, and my hip hurt so bad, and that was an excuse for Jerry. Well, maybe we ought to just stay home. And I'm like, no, I think we better go. You know, I need prayer. And so we went to the church, and we were kind of late because we were already running a little late, and then this all happened. And we come in the door in the back, and Cecil seen me hobbling through the door, and right away, you know, he had me up there in the balcony, and everybody was laying hands on me, and they sat me in a wooden chair on the stage, kind of like this, and had my feet out in front of me, and one of the people held my feet up, and I could see where my foot was probably about this much difference in the length of my feet. My one foot ended here, and the other one was out here, and Cecil says, I believe your hip's out of place. He says, we're going to pray that God puts that back in. And they anointed me with oil, and they started praying over me, and I felt this big ball of fire in the top of my hip, and it just started moving down my leg. I've never felt anything like that before. I'd prayed for things, but this was actually something I could feel. I felt that fire move all the way to my foot, and when it got close to my toes, my foot just started moving out, so it was even with the other one. And if I'd have seen somebody else get up there, I might have been a little skeptical and thought, well, they moved their foot. They did that, but it was me. It was me, and I didn't move my foot. I felt it. And it was like that was my first real physical healing, and I knew God was real. And he was working in my life, and he was going to make everything better. Well, I divorced Jerry, and things got better. And I was in and out of church. Sorry, Lord. I was kind of in and out of church. I missed Cecil's church because I grew up in a Methodist church, and the preacher did all the talking. And it was different going to a church where everybody praised and talked, and wasn't just the preacher speaking. And I kind of liked that service. It was different. Sorry. I used to fall asleep in my church at home. It was kind of boring. And the preacher read a few things, and I didn't understand what was being read. And well, in Cecil's church, you didn't sleep, and it's kind of like this church. Because you couldn't sleep. There was too much going on, and it was also interesting, and it was just different. And I still have the Methodist girl in me, though, and I'm a little bit shy when it comes to praising sometimes. And this is the first time I ever spoke like this. But over the years, I was in and out of things, and some things I'm not real proud about, and I'm not going to discuss that stuff. What I care most about is what he's done for me, and he's changed my life. I didn't have a good life. And after I lost my family, I was alone. And now I feel like I have a family again. And he's healing me. And I'll tell you, one of the biggest things he did for me, I started smoking when I was a junior in high school. I smoked for probably 48 years. I tried quitting a lot, you know. First time maybe it lasted about 2-3 hours. You know, a couple times it was a day or two. One time it lasted a week. Once it was 30 days. And why I put a cigarette back in my mouth, I never should have, but I couldn't do it, you know. I couldn't go to bed. If I only had 2 in my pack, I had to go to the station and grab a pack because I might need them before I got out, you know, the next day. And I got to where I couldn't breathe. I was getting pneumonia about once a year, and I just had terrible issues with my breathing, and I really felt like if I didn't quit, I wasn't going to make it. I was going to die. I wouldn't make it 10 years, and I wasn't ready for that. What's that? Water. Okay. So I went to this group thing at the hospital, Smoking Sensations, and there was a counselor there. She was going to tell me how to quit. She'd never smoked a cigarette. And I was like, oh, this is great. This is going to work. And she gave me a lot of different devices. She gave me some patches and some chewing gum, and then she gave me this prescription for Chantix. And my sister had taken that a couple times, and she quit for a while and then was smoking again. But it seemed to work for a while, and I thought, well, I'll try that. I went to the drugstore. It was $260-some for a month prescription. Well, I couldn't afford that. So I went back home, and I thought, I'll just do the patches. Well, I was doing patches and smoking too, and I just felt like I was a shaken mess. And I was talking to my sister on the phone and told her about it. She says, Linda, we're coming up to see Mom this weekend. She says, I got a prescription in my medicine cabinet. Gary, the last time I tried to quit, her husband Gary, he just laid his down. He didn't need them. And she says, I'll bring it up for you. It's my time up. So, I'm about done. So she brought the prescription up, and I started taking it right away that weekend. And I went into my next counseling meeting at the hospital, and she says, how you doing? And I said, I'm doing great. I said, I started the pills. I'm on day 3. So I have no cravings. I left out the best part. When I got home with the pills, I got on my knees with the pills, and I prayed, and I said, Lord, it took my sister 2 packs of these to quit. I can't afford to buy another pack. I have this 1 pack, and I've got to do it. I've got to quit. And I said, you're going to have to help me. I can't do it alone. So I went to the appointment Monday, and she asked how I was doing. I said, I'm doing great. I haven't had a craving. I said, I've been doing really good. I threw the patches away. I can't chew that gum. It's nasty. I think I got it this time. I said, that Chantix is working. It's really great. And she says, oh, that's good. When did you start taking it? And I said, oh, this is day 3. And I told her that I prayed, and I told her what I did. And she says, Linda, she says, I think you better thank the Lord for that, because that Chantix don't even get in your system for a week. and you've had a prayer answered. And you know, I still have that pack of pills in my medicine cabinet, and it's still got 3 days worth left in it. I never even finished the pack. I've been smoke-free it'll be 5 years in August. And I don't have cravings. Every now and then I reach for my purse when I'm driving, because that's where I kept them, and that's what I was always reaching for, but the Lord delivered me from them. I don't have the taste for them. When other people smoke around me, it don't bother me anymore. I'll never smoke another cigarette, and I owe him for that. He did that for me. Thank you guys for putting up with me.